I was sitting in my truck in the company parking lot, eating a sandwich during my lunch break, when my phone buzzed with a family group text. My parents had written, "We think it's best you step away for now." Before I could even process what that meant, my Aunt Linda's reaction popped up beneath it. A thumbs up emoji. Then my Uncle Gary added, "Agreed." The message came 3 weeks before my cousin Brandon's wedding. I watched more family members add their thumbs up reactions, one after another. Nobody explained why. Nobody asked my side. After 17 years of quietly funding the family, they decided I was disposable. I stared at that message for a long time. The cursor blinked in the reply box. My hands were shaking, and I'm not someone who shakes easily. I typed slowly, deliberately. Understood. I'll respect that decision. I'll also step away from the family fund. Effective immediately. My thumb hovered over the send button for maybe 5 seconds. Then I pressed it. The message appeared in the group chat with a small whoosh sound. I opened my banking app before anyone could respond. Let me explain something about the family fund. When I was 22 years old, my tech startup sold for $8 million. I know that sounds like a fairy tale, but it came after 3 years of working 80 to 90-hour weeks, sleeping in my office, living on ramen and coffee, gambling everything on an idea that could have failed. When the acquisition went through, I was exhausted, relieved, and suddenly wealthy, beyond anything I'd imagined. My family was struggling back then. My parents had a mortgage they could barely manage. Aunt Linda had diabetes with no health insurance. Uncle Gary's auto shop was hemorrhaging money. I thought, what's the point of having money if I can't help the people I love? So I set up a trust fund. I worked with an attorney to make it look professional, official, separate from me personally. The fund distributed approximately $35,000 every month across the family. It covered my parents' mortgage payment of $2,200. It paid Aunt Linda's insulin and medical bills, usually around $800 monthly. It covered Uncle Gary's business loan payments of $1,500. It paid for cousin Brandon's entire college tuition, $43,000 per year, for 4 years. It funded emergency expenses for various cousins, nieces, nephews. It paid for our annual family reunion every summer, usually around $6,000. And it covered the full cost of my grandmother's assisted living facility, which ran $6,800 per month. The family knew I helped out sometimes. They thought I contributed a few thousand here and there. They had no idea I was covering almost everything. I had structured it through the trust, so the payments looked like they came from an investment fund, not directly from me. I didn't want gratitude. I didn't want them to feel indebted. I just wanted them to be okay. Now, sitting in my truck with a half-eaten sandwich and a group text telling me to step away, I transferred every asset out of the family trust. I moved $473,000 into a separate personal account. I opened the auto distribution settings and canceled every single recurring payment. Mortgage, canceled. Medical bills, canceled. Business loans, canceled. Grandmother's facility, canceled. Everything. The process took 40 minutes. My sandwich sat forgotten on the passenger seat. When the final confirmation screen appeared, I pressed accept. Then I sent a formal notice to the trust attorney. Cease all payments immediately, effective today, terminate the trust at earliest legal convenience. I didn't tell anyone beyond that one text message. I just turned off my phone, finished my workday, went home, and went to bed. At 2:15 in the morning, my phone started buzzing. I'd turned the ringer back on out of habit before sleep. The sound jolted me awake. My father's name lit up the screen. I let it go to voicemail. It immediately rang again. And again. 17 calls in 20 minutes, all from my father. Then the texts started flooding in. Dad, what did you do? Dad, the bank flagged our accounts. Dad, we're getting insufficient funds notices. Mom, Joe, this isn't funny. Fix this now. Aunt Linda, my pharmacy card declined. What's happening? Uncle Gary, call me immediately. This is serious. Brandon, dude, what's going on? Mom and Dad are freaking out. By sunrise, I had 89 missed calls. I listened to one voicemail, The first one from my father. His voice was panicked, angry, confused all at once. "Joe! What happened?" "The bank flagged everything. Our mortgage payment bounced. Linda's pharmacy is calling. Gary's business account is frozen. Call me back. Right now. This is an emergency." I texted back one sentence. "I'm honoring your decision. You wanted me to step away. I'm stepping away from everything." Then I put my phone on silent, got dressed, and went to work like it was a normal Tuesday. At 10 o'clock in the morning, our receptionist called my desk. "Joe, your father is here in the lobby. He says it's urgent." I walked out to find my dad standing by the front desk, still in his pajama pants under a hastily thrown-on jacket. His hair was uncombed. His eyes were wild. "We need to talk," he said. "Now." I led him to a conference room. He closed the door and immediately started pacing. "Joe, I don't know what you did, but you need to undo it. The mortgage payment bounced. We got a notice this morning. We're on final warning. 15 days before foreclosure proceedings begin." "Foreclosure?" I kept my voice calm. "How is that possible? You've had that house for 20 years. My father stopped pacing. He looked at the floor. "We refinanced 8 years ago. Took out equity for some investments that didn't work out. The payments got too high. We've been missing payments for 3 months. But the bank didn't start foreclosure proceedings? Because the payments kept clearing. Someone was covering them." "Someone," I repeated. My father finally looked at me. Understanding dawned slowly across his face. "You," he whispered. "It was you. The whole time." "The mortgage was $2,200 a month," I said. "I've been paying it for 4 years. You never knew because it came from the trust account and the bank listed it as an automated payment service." 4 years? My father's voice cracked. "Joe, that's over $100,000. $105,600, I said. "But who's counting? Why didn't you tell us?" "Because you would have felt guilty, or obligated, or you would have felt like you owed me. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted you to keep your house." My father sat down heavily in one of the conference room chairs. "The text message," he said quietly. "The wedding. You think we don't want you there. You literally told me to step away. We were trying to avoid drama. Brandon's fiancée, Jessica," she said. "She told us you had dated her sister years ago, that you'd hurt her. She was crying, Joe. She seemed so genuine. She said her sister Emily was still traumatized, and having you at the wedding would be too painful." "I've never met anyone named Emily," I said. "I've never dated anyone connected to Jessica. I didn't even know Brandon was engaged until 4 months ago when I got the save the date card." My father looked up sharply. "What?" I pulled out my phone, opened my contacts, scrolled through. "Look. Every woman I've dated in the last 10 years. Their names, our dates, how we met. I keep track because I'm organized. There's no Emily. There's never been an Emily." My father stared at the screen. His face went pale. "She lied? Or her sister lied, or someone lied, or there was a misunderstanding. But you didn't ask me. You didn't check. You just sent a group text and told me to step away." And Aunt Linda gave it a thumbs up, like she was agreeing to exclude me from a restaurant reservation, not from my own family. "Joe, we made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But you can't just cut everyone off. Linda needs her medication. Gary's business is going to collapse. Your mother and I are going to lose our house." I stood up. "You told me to step away. That's what I'm doing." "This is punishment." "No," I said quietly. "This is honoring your decision. You didn't want me around. Fine. But you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to exclude me from the family and keep my money." My father's face turned red. "We're family. You can't abandon family. You abandoned me 3 weeks ago with a text message and a thumbs-up emoji." I walked out of the conference room, left him sitting there, and went back to my desk. My hands were steady now. I felt calm. Clear. For the first time in 17 years, I felt like I could breathe. Sunday afternoon, my cousin Brandon called. His voice was tight, strained. "We're having a family meeting at Mom and Dad's house. 5 o'clock. You need to be there." "You asked me to step away," I said. "This is different. This is serious. Everyone's coming. We need to talk about this." About what? About you punishing the entire family because you're mad about the wedding. I almost hung up, but curiosity got the better of me. Fine. I'll be there. I showed up at 5:03. Every car in the family was parked on the street outside my parents' house. I walked in to find the living room packed. My parents sat on the couch. Aunt Linda was in the armchair by the window. Uncle Gary stood near the fireplace. Brandon and his fiancée Jessica sat on dining chairs they'd brought in. My cousin Tyler was leaning against the wall, arms crossed. My cousin Amanda sat on the floor, and on the laptop screen propped on the coffee table, my grandmother's face appeared via video call from her assisted living facility. "Joe," my mother said. Her voice had that tone. The one that meant I was in trouble. "Sit down." I remained standing. "What's this about?" "We've prepared something," Brandon said. He had a folder in his hands. "We wanted to show you how your decision has affected everyone." He opened the folder. Inside were printed documents, spreadsheets, bills. My mother started. "Since you shut down the fund 4 days ago, here's what's happened. Our mortgage payment bounced. We received a foreclosure warning. Our bank account was charged $35 in overdraft fees. Our credit score dropped 43 points. We have 15 days to make the payment, or we lose the house." Aunt Linda spoke next, her voice shaking. "My pharmacy cut me off. I had 3 days of insulin left when my payment card declined. I can't afford the out-of-pocket cost. It's $900 a month. I make $1,300 working part-time at the grocery store. After rent, utilities, and food, there's nothing left. My doctor wrote me samples to get through this week, but I don't know what happens after that." Uncle Gary cleared his throat. "My business account froze because 3 supplier payments bounced, total of $6,200. The suppliers put me on credit hold. I can't order parts. I can't fulfill customer orders. I had to send my 2 mechanics home. I'm operating alone now, and I've got 8 jobs backed up, with no way to complete them. My customers are threatening to take their cars elsewhere and sue for damages." Brandon's turn. "Our wedding is in 3 weeks. We were counting on family support. Everyone's maxed out now. Mom and Dad can't help. Uncle Gary can't help. Aunt Linda definitely can't help. We're trying to figure out how to pay for the venue's final payment of $4,500. We might have to cancel." My grandmother's voice came through the laptop speakers. "Joey, sweetheart. My facility called me yesterday. They said my account is $6,800 overdue. They're working on payment arrangements, but they've moved me to the overflow wing until it's resolved. I'm sharing a bathroom with 3 other ladies now. It's not ideal." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at me. "Well," my mother said, "do you see what you've done?" I looked around the room slowly. "Yeah," I said. "I see exactly what I've done. I've let you all stand on your own feet for the first time in years." "We're drowning," Aunt Linda's voice broke. "No, you're learning to swim. There's a difference." Brandon stood up. "You're punishing everyone because you're not invited to one wedding? Is that what you think this is about?" I felt a laugh building in my chest, bitter and sharp. "Brandon, I paid for your entire college education. 4 years at state. $43,000 per year. Tuition, room, board, books, everything. $172,000 total. Did you know that?" Brandon's face went blank. "What?" "The family scholarship fund. The one that covered everything, so you graduated debt-free. That was me. All me. And you're standing here telling me I'm the bad guy?" I turned to Uncle Gary. "Your business has been failing for 6 years. I've covered over $90,000 in loan payments. I kept doing it because I thought you'd turn it around. You didn't. You kept making the same mistakes, taking the same bad jobs, hiring unreliable people, and I kept covering the losses. I enabled you to fail comfortably." To Aunt Linda, "I'm sorry about your insulin. Truly. But you've had no health insurance for 8 years. 8 years. There are programs. Medicaid. Affordable Care Act options. Job opportunities with benefits. You never pursued them because you didn't have to. I was your insurance. To my parents. And you. You refinanced the house to make investments. They failed. Instead of downsizing, instead of adjusting your lifestyle, you just kept living the same way because the mortgage kept getting paid. By me. My mother's eyes filled with tears. We didn't know. We thought the trust was set up as a family business investment. Because that's what you told yourselves. You never asked questions because you didn't want answers. Brandon shook his head. This still doesn't explain the wedding thing. Why would Jessica lie about her sister? Jessica, who'd been silent until now, suddenly spoke. Her voice was cold. I didn't lie. My sister told me what you did to her. What's her full name? I asked. Emily Patterson. I pulled out my phone, opened social media, typed the name. Found her profile in seconds. Her page was public. Photos going back years. I scrolled. Found one from 6 years ago. This? Her? Jessica looked at the screen. Yes. I showed the photo to the room. Emily Patterson at a restaurant. Beaming at the camera. The caption read, 5-year anniversary dinner with my love. Tagged in the photo, Marcus Patterson. She's been married for at least 6 years, I said. And look at this. I scrolled further. Found a wedding photo from 7 years ago. Married 7 years. She was married before I even sold my company. Jessica grabbed my phone, stared at the screen. Her face changed. Confusion, then realization, then something that looked like panic. She told me. Jessica's voice trailed off. What did she tell you? Brandon's voice was sharp now. She said she dated a tech guy from our area who made a lot of money and then dumped her. She cried about it. I thought. When I met Joe, when I saw he was in tech, had money, I just assumed. You assumed, I repeated. And you told my family. And they believed you. Without asking. Without checking. And they sent me a group text, telling me to step away from my own cousin's wedding. The room went very, very quiet. Joe, my father said slowly. We owe you an apology. Yeah, you do. But here's the thing. Apologies don't fix this. Because it's not just the wedding. It's not just Jessica's lie. It's the fact that for 17 years, I've been the family ATM. And the moment there was any perceived conflict, any inconvenience, you just cut me off without a conversation. You didn't defend me. You didn't question the story. You just picked the path of least resistance and told me to step away. Uncle Gary spoke up. So what do you want? You want us to beg? I want you to leave me alone. I want you to figure out your own problems. I want you to stop treating me like I exist. To solve your emergencies. My mother stood up. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Now please, turn the fun back on. People are going to lose everything. No. That one word fell into the room like a stone into water. No? My mother's voice rose. Joe, your father is going to lose his house. I'm going to lose my home. Then sell it, downsize, get an apartment, get jobs that cover your bills. Join the rest of America that doesn't have a rich relative covering everything. Aunt Linda was crying now. I need my medication. I could die without it. Then apply for Medicaid. Apply for manufacturer assistance programs. They exist. I've researched them for you. You qualify, but you never applied because you didn't have to. You're being cruel, my mother whispered. No, I said. I'm being done. I walked toward the door. Tyler pushed off from the wall. Wait, he said. Everyone turned to look at him. Tyler was always the quiet one. Worked construction, kept to himself. Never asked for anything. Asked end, all 7. I need to say something, Tyler continued. 4 years ago, my mom got cancer, ovarian cancer, stage 3. The treatment cost $60,000 after insurance. We were going to lose the house, lose everything. Then suddenly, a check appeared, $60,000. The hospital said it came from an anonymous charitable foundation. We never knew who. Tyler looked at me. It was you, wasn't it? I didn't answer. It was you, Tyler said quietly. And I never thanked you. Because I didn't know. Amanda, sitting on the floor, spoke up. 3 years ago, my car got repossessed. I was going to lose my job without transportation. Then the loan company called and said someone had paid off the balance. $8,200. They said it was an administrative error, that I'd been double charged and they were correcting it. But that wasn't true, was it? I looked at Amanda. You needed a car. You paid it, she said. You paid it and you let me think it was a mistake so I wouldn't feel ashamed. The room shifted. The energy changed. Aunt Linda wiped her eyes. The medication. Every month, I'd get a call from a different pharmacy saying they had samples for me, or a discount program, or a manufacturer rebate. It was never the same pharmacy twice. I thought I was just lucky. You set that up, she said. You set up a rotating system so I'd never realize it was you. I wanted you to have your medicine, I said simply. My father's face crumpled. Joe. Son. We didn't know. We didn't understand. No, I agreed. You didn't, because you didn't want to. It was easier to just accept the help and not ask questions. Brandon sank back into his chair. The scholarship fund. That was real money. Real payments. From you. Every semester for 4 years. Jessica looked at Brandon, then at me. I ruined this. Oh God. I ruined everything. Yeah, I said. You did. But they let you. They chose to believe a stranger's second-hand story over their own family member. That's on them. I opened the front door. The evening air was cool. Joe, wait. My father stood up. We can fix this. We'll make this right. But I was already walking to my truck. Behind me, I heard voices rising, arguing, blaming. Jessica's voice, high and frantic. Brandon's, angry. My mother's, sobbing. I drove home in silence. And for the first time in 17 years, I didn't feel guilty. Tuesday morning, a courier knocked on my office door. He handed me a certified letter, got my signature, and left. I opened it at my desk. Inside was a lawsuit. My family had hired an attorney. The claim alleged breach of oral contract and promissory estoppel. They argued that I had created an expectation of ongoing financial support, that they had relied on this support to make life decisions, and that my sudden withdrawal constituted a breach of implied agreement. They were demanding I restore all payments immediately and continue funding at the established levels. The damages listed: $200,000 plus ongoing monthly payments of $35,000. I read it twice. Then I called my attorney. Christine Martinez had handled my business dealings for 8 years. Sharp, thorough, unflappable. When I walked into her office that afternoon with the lawsuit, she read it while I sat across from her desk. After 3 minutes, she looked up. This won't survive the first motion to dismiss. Explain. They're claiming an implied contract based on a pattern of gifts. But gifts, by legal definition, have no strings attached. You never signed anything promising ongoing support. You never created a written agreement. You never even verbally committed to permanent funding. This is a family hoping a judge will feel sorry for them. So it'll get thrown out? Almost certainly. But, Christine tapped her pen on the desk. Do you want to just win? Or do you want them to understand exactly what they've done? What do you mean? We could file a motion to dismiss and be done in 30 days. Or we could go through discovery, force them to produce all financial records, document every penny you gave them, make them face the full scope of their dependency. Then file the motion to dismiss with a comprehensive breakdown of your generosity. Make it part of the permanent court record. I thought about that. How long would discovery take? 3 to 4 months. And it'll cost you about $15,000 in legal fees. Do it. Christine smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. I was hoping you'd say that. Let's start by subpoenaing every bank record, tax return, and financial statement they have. Over the next 6 weeks, my attorney's office became a war room. Christine's paralegal, a meticulous woman named Sandra, created spreadsheets that documented 17 years of my financial support. Every payment, every transfer, every covered expense. The total came to $4 million, $237,614. I stared at that number. $4 million. In 17 years, I'd given my family over $4 million. But the discovery process revealed something else. Something worse. 2 years ago, my parents had taken out a home equity line of credit for $75,000. When they applied, they told the bank the house was fully paid off. That was a lie. I'd been making their mortgage payments, but the loan was still in their name, still outstanding. They'd committed bank fraud to access that equity. The money? Gone. Spent on a boat they'd sold 6 months later at a $30,000 loss. A timeshare in Florida they never used. And a series of bad stock investments. Uncle Gary had claimed business revenue on his tax returns that was actually my monthly payments to his loan accounts. He'd inflated his income to qualify for additional business credit. Tax fraud. Aunt Linda had been receiving Social Security disability payments for 4 years. She was required to report all financial assistance. She never reported my monthly coverage of her medical expenses. Benefits. Fraud. Christine laid out the evidence on her desk. Your family has committed multiple federal crimes. Bank fraud. Tax fraud. Benefits fraud. If you report this, they're looking at fines, possible jail time, definitely criminal records. How did I not know about any of this? Because you trusted them. You gave freely without oversight. They took advantage. I sat back in my chair. What happens if we include this in our court filing? It becomes part of the public record. Anyone can access it. More importantly, federal prosecutors could pick it up, start their own investigations. And if I don't include it, we just use it as leverage. Send their attorney a summary of what we found. Suggest they reconsider the lawsuit. I looked at the spreadsheets. Years of fraud. Years of lying. While I was paying their bills, they were committing crimes. Send it to their attorney, I said. Let them make the choice. Christine drafted a letter. It was 5 pages long. It detailed every instance of fraud we'd discovered, cited the relevant federal statutes, included copies of the evidence. The final paragraph was simple. Your clients may wish to reconsider their legal strategy before this information becomes part of the official court record. We sent it on a Wednesday. By Friday afternoon, their attorney called Christine. My clients are withdrawing the lawsuit. Smart decision, Christine said. But they want assurances. They want to know he won't report the fraud. Tell them I'll think about it, I said. That evening, my father called. His voice was shaking. Joe, please, we made a mistake with the lawsuit. We're dropping it, but you can't report us. We'll lose everything. I could go to jail. Your mother could go to jail. You committed fraud, I said, multiple times, while I was paying your bills. We were desperate. We made bad choices. But we're family. You wouldn't turn in your own family. You sued your own son over money you were never entitled to. Money I gave you freely for 17 years. We'll make it right. We'll pay you back. With what money? You're about to lose your house. Please, Joe. I'm begging you. I closed my eyes. I'll think about it. What does that mean? It means I'll think about it. Don't call me again. I hung up, sat in silence, felt nothing but tired. 3 days later, Jessica posted on social media. The post was long, emotional. It painted me as a manipulative rich man who used money to control his family. She claimed I was financially abusing them by withdrawing support. She said I was punishing them for standing up to my control. She described my parents as elderly victims, Aunt Linda as a sick woman being denied life-saving medication, Uncle Gary as a small business owner being destroyed by my greed. The post went viral. 30,000 shares in the first day. Comments flooded in. Most were sympathetic to Jessica's narrative. Rich people are sociopaths. He's holding his own family hostage. Someone should report him. By day 2, the post had reached 60,000 shares. Local Facebook groups picked it up. Someone recognized my name, connected it to my company. They found my employer's social media pages and started flooding them with comments. Joe Henderson works for you, and he's abusing his family. How can you employ someone who lets his grandmother suffer? This man is a monster. On day 3, I got called into a meeting with HR. The VP of Operations, Dan Sullivan, and the company's legal counsel were there. Dan spoke first. Joe, we've received some concerning information about a family situation. Social media posts, some emails to our general inbox. Allegations of financial abuse. We need to ask you about this. I explained everything. The family fund. The 17 years of support. The exclusion from the wedding over a fabricated story. My decision to stop paying. The lawsuit they'd filed and withdrawn. The legal counsel took notes. Do you have documentation? All of it. Bank records, legal filings, everything. Bring it in tomorrow. We need to review this. Am I being suspended? Dan and the legal counsel exchanged looks. Not suspended, but we're placing you on paid administrative leave pending investigation. This is standard procedure for any abuse allegations. How long? 2 weeks, maybe 3. I walked out of that meeting and straight to Christine's office. They've destroyed my reputation, I told her. Jessica's post has gone viral. My employer thinks I'm an abuser. I'm on administrative leave. Christine pulled up the post on her computer. Read it. Her jaw tightened. This is defamation. Clear, actionable defamation. She's made false statements of fact that have damaged your reputation and employment. We can sue. How long would that take? A year, maybe 2. And it'll cost you $50,000 or more in legal fees. Plus, it'll keep you in the spotlight. The lawsuit itself will generate more attention. So what do I do? Christine thought for a moment. Do you know any journalists? I called Marcus Webb that night. We'd met 5 years ago at a tech conference, stayed in touch, became friends. He worked for a major investigative journalism outlet based in New York. We'd grab dinner whenever he was on the West Coast for stories. Marcus, I need your help. How do you feel about family drama that involves fraud, defamation, and $4 million? He met me for coffee the next morning. I brought everything. Bank records, legal documents, Christine's spreadsheets, screenshots of Jessica's viral post, the lawsuit filing, evidence of the fraud my family had committed. Marcus spread it all across a corner table at the coffee shop. He read for 90 minutes straight. Finally, he looked up. This is a hell of a story. Will you write it? I need to verify everything independently. I'll need to contact your family for comment. I'll need to interview the assisted living facility, your employer, maybe some financial experts to contextualize the amounts involved. This'll take me 2 weeks minimum. Do it. Marcus got to work. He was thorough. He called my parents, Aunt Linda, Uncle Gary, Brandon, Jessica. Most refused to talk. My father gave him a 10-minute interview that apparently consisted mostly of no comment, and this is a private family matter. Jessica refused entirely, but Marcus found Emily Patterson. The real Emily Patterson. Jessica's sister. She agreed to an interview. Emily told Marcus she'd never met me. She'd been happily married for 8 years. She had no idea why Jessica would say otherwise. When Marcus told her about the wedding exclusion, about the viral post, about everything that had happened, Emily was horrified. My sister has always been dramatic, Emily said in the interview. But I never thought she'd make up something like this. Joe Henderson sounds like he was incredibly generous to his family. I'm sorry my name got dragged into this mess. Marcus also interviewed Carol, the director of my grandmother's assisted living facility. Carol confirmed that I'd been paying the full cost for years, that the account was currently overdue, but that they were working on a payment plan and my grandmother was in no danger of being discharged. He interviewed Christine, who provided legal analysis of the family's lawsuit and its lack of merit. He built a timeline. 17 years of payments. $4 million in gifts. The group text exclusion. The retaliatory withdrawal. The family's lawsuit. The discovery of fraud. Jessica's defamatory post. 2 weeks later, the article published. The headline. The family that sued their benefactor. Inside one man's 17 years of silent giving. It was comprehensive. 8,000 words. Detailed timeline. Quotes from Emily, from Carol, from Christine. Financial breakdowns. Screenshots of the original group text, of Jessica's post, of the lawsuit filing. The article included my statement. I never wanted recognition. I just wanted to help. They excluded me over a lie they never bothered to verify, then sued me when I stopped paying. Now they're destroying my reputation because I won't be their ATM anymore. I spent 17 years trying to save people who didn't want to save themselves. The article went live at 6 in the morning. By noon, it had 100,000 views. By evening, 200,000. By midnight, 500,000. Social media exploded. But this time, the narrative was different. This man gave $4 million, and they sued him? The family is disgusting. He's a saint. Jessica made up a whole story about her sister dating him? That's psychotic. They told him to step away, and then got mad when he actually did. The audacity. Jessica's original post got flooded with new comments. People found her Facebook, her Instagram, her employer's page. The tide had turned completely. By day 2, Jessica's GoFundMe had been reported and shut down. She was forced to refund all $11,000. The local news that had initially run the family claims abandonment story now ran a correction. New details emerge in Henderson family financial dispute. My employer called. The investigation was concluded. I was cleared of all allegations. I could return to work immediately. They apologized for the administrative leave. But then, on day 3, Brandon called me. He was crying. "Joe, please, you have to help us. I don't have to do anything. The wedding venue canceled our contract." The owner saw the article. She said she won't host people of such poor character. "We lost our deposit, $8,000. The wedding is in 9 days. We have no venue." I felt a flicker of something. Not quite sympathy, maybe pity. "Brandon, I'm sorry, but that's not my problem. Every venue in town has seen the news. Nobody will book us. We have 300 guests. We sent invitations. People are flying in. What do we do? Maybe you postpone, or you have a small ceremony at a courthouse. Jessica's parents won't even come now. They saw the article. They're humiliated. Her father called her a liar and a manipulator. Our families are destroyed, Joe. All because of her stupid story about Emily." "No," I said. "Your family is destroyed because you believed a stranger over me. Because you excluded me without a conversation. Because you sued me. Because Jessica posted lies that went viral. These are all choices you made. I'm just the person who stopped enabling the consequences. I'm begging you. We're family. You're family when you need money. Where was family when I got that group text?" Brandon's voice broke completely. "We were wrong. We know we were wrong. But please, don't let this ruin the rest of our lives. Brandon, I paid for your college. $172,000. I gave you a debt-free start. You're 26 years old, with a degree and no student loans. You're ahead of 90% of people your age. Your life isn't ruined. You're just facing consequences for the first time." I heard him crying. Heard Jessica in the background, her voice high and panicky. "I have to go," I said. "Joe, wait. There's something else. Jessica lost her job." "What?" "She works at First National Bank." "Worked." "They fired her yesterday. They said the publicity was damaging to their reputation. She's in banking, and she created a false narrative that went viral. They said it reflected poor judgment and character. She's devastated." I should have felt vindicated, but I just felt tired. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said. "But that's also not my fault. That's a consequence of her choices." "She's talking about hurting herself, Joe." My blood went cold. "What?" "She's saying her life is over. That you destroyed everything. That she has nothing left." "Brandon, if she's suicidal, you need to call emergency services. Right now, that's not something I can fix, and it's not something you should be telling me to manipulate me into helping." "I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm scared. I don't know what to do." "Call 911. Get her help. Professional help. But don't put her mental health on me. I didn't make her lie. I didn't make her post false stories. I didn't make her choices." I hung up, sat in silence, felt sick. 20 minutes later, Tyler texted me. "Brandon called 911. Jessica is at the hospital getting evaluated. She's going to be okay. But Joe, the family is falling apart. Uncle Gary is drinking again. Aunt Linda is having panic attacks. Your parents aren't speaking to each other. Everyone's blaming everyone else. This is a disaster. I texted back. I'm sorry it's come to this, but I can't fix it. They have to fix themselves. Tyler. I know. I just wanted you to know what's happening. And Joe? Thank you. For everything you did for us all those years. I should have said that sooner. That message sat on my screen for a long time. The first genuine thank you I'd received from anyone in my family since this started. You're welcome, I texted back. Take care of yourself, Tyler. Then my phone rang again. My father. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Joe. His voice was rough, exhausted. Your mother and I need to talk to you. In person. Tomorrow. Please. Why? Because we're losing our house. Because your Aunt Linda is in the hospital. Because your Uncle Gary is destroying himself. Because Brandon's wedding is in 8 days. And he has nowhere to have it. Because this family is disintegrating, and I don't know how to stop it. None of that is my responsibility. I know. My father's voice broke. I know it's not, but please. One conversation, face to face. That's all I'm asking. I closed my eyes. Fine. Tomorrow, noon, at the house. Thank you, son. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. This was supposed to feel like winning. So why did it feel like everyone was losing? The next day, I arrived at my parents' house at noon. But when I walked in, I realized immediately this wasn't just a conversation with my parents. The entire family was there, again. My parents, Aunt Linda looking pale and shaken, Uncle Gary with bloodshot eyes, Brandon without Jessica, Tyler, Amanda, even my grandmother on the laptop screen. You said just you and Mom, I said to my father. We need everyone here. Please. Sit. I stayed standing near the door. Say what you need to say. My father looked around the room, then back at me. Joe, we're not here to ask for money. Then why am I here? We're here to tell you that we're sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. We took you for granted. We took advantage of your generosity. We treated you like a bank instead of a son, a nephew, a cousin. And when Jessica told that lie, we believed it because it was easier than confronting her. We failed you. The room was silent. Several people were crying. My mother spoke next. I've thought about that text message every day. We think it's best you step away. 5 words that destroyed everything. I didn't write it to hurt you. Life? I wrote it because I was trying to keep peace. But that was wrong. You deserved better. You deserved a conversation. You deserved to be defended. Aunt Linda. I've been living with diabetes for 12 years. For 8 of those years, you covered my medication without me ever asking. I never thanked you. I never acknowledged it properly. I just took it as if I was entitled to it. I'm ashamed of myself. Uncle Gary. I've been running a failing business for 6 years. You kept it afloat with $90,000 of your own money. Instead of fixing the real problems, I just kept taking your help. I blamed everyone else for my failures. I blamed the economy, my employees, my customers. I never looked in the mirror. I'm looking now. I don't like what I see. Brandon, you paid for my entire college education. You gave me a future. And I stood there at that family meeting and accused you of punishing us over a wedding invitation. I'm so sorry, Joe. You deserved better from me. Tyler, you saved my mom's life with that cancer payment. I never knew. But even if I had known, I'm not sure I would have appreciated it properly. Thank you. And I'm sorry. One by one they spoke. Each apology felt genuine, raw, painful. When they finished, I stood there for a long moment. Okay, I said finally. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it, but it doesn't change anything. My father's face fell. What do you mean? I mean the damage is done. The trust is broken. You can't apologize your way out of 17 years of taking and 3 weeks of cruelty. This family doesn't work anymore. So you're just done? My mother asked. You're cutting us all off forever? I'm protecting myself. From people who've shown me they'll choose convenience over loyalty. We made one mistake, Aunt Linda cried. No. You made years of mistakes. The text message was just the one that woke me up. I turned to leave. Wait! Uncle Gary's voice stopped me. There's something else you need to know. I turned back. He looked sick, guilty. We had a meeting, he said quietly, a few days ago, before the article came out, when things were really bad. And we made a plan. To get you to turn the fund back on. My stomach tightened. What kind of plan? My father closed his eyes. My mother looked at the floor. Uncle Gary continued. We were going to tell you that Grandma was being evicted from the facility on Friday, that they were going to put her out on the street if we didn't pay the $42,000 balance. We were going to say that if you didn't restore the fund, we'd go to every media outlet and tell them you let your 91-year-old grandmother become homeless. The room spun slightly. You were going to lie. Again. Publicly. We were desperate, my mother whispered. Desperate enough to threaten me with fake elder abuse allegations? We didn't go through with it, my father said quickly. We never sent the message. We called it off. Because the article came out and everyone already knew the truth, I said. Not because you suddenly grew a conscience. That's not fair, Brandon started. Fair? I rounded on him. You were going to accuse me of elder abuse, to manipulate me into giving you money. How is that fair? Aunt Linda spoke, her voice shaking. I told them not to do it. I said it was wrong. But I didn't stop them either. I just stayed silent. That makes me guilty too. I looked at my grandmother on the laptop screen. Did you know about this? No, sweetheart. They didn't tell me. Probably because you would have told them how disgusting it was. I walked to the door again. Joe, please. My father stood up. We're telling you now because we want to be honest. We want to rebuild trust. You can't rebuild what you've burned to the ground. I left. Got in my truck. Drove away. But at a stoplight 3 blocks from their house, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Is this Joe Henderson? Who's asking? This is Carol from Brightview Assisted Living. I'm calling about your grandmother's account. What about it? I wanted to give you an update. We've worked out a payment arrangement with Medicaid. Your grandmother's costs will be covered moving forward. She'll be able to move back to her original room next week. That's great news. Thank you for letting me know. There's something else. A few days ago, I got a very strange call from your uncle. He was asking about our discharge policies, specifically, what would happen if an account went into severe default. He seemed very focused on whether we would ever put a resident out on the street. I told him we absolutely would never do that. That we have social services and emergency protocols. But the call felt odd, like he was fishing for something. My blood went cold. Did he ask if my grandmother would be discharged this Friday? Yes, actually. How did you know? Lucky guess. Thank you, Carol. I hung up. They really were going to do it. They really were going to fabricate a crisis and blame me publicly. I called Christine. I need you to document something. That evening, I got a call from my grandmother. Direct from her, not through the family. Joey, can you come visit me? I need to talk to you. In person. Of course. When? Tomorrow afternoon? 2 o'clock? I'll be there. The next day, I drove to Brightview. My grandmother was in the common room, sitting by a window. She looked small, fragile, but her eyes were sharp when she saw me. Sit, sweetheart. I Saturday. She reached over and took my hand. I'm 91 years old, she said. I don't have time to waste on pleasantries. So I'm going to tell you something. And I need you to listen carefully. Okay. 15 years ago, when you were 22, your startup was failing. You were about to go bankrupt. You needed $60,000 to make payroll and keep the company alive 1 more month. Do you remember? I frowned. I remember needing the money, but I got a loan from an anonymous investor who believed in the idea. My parents connected me with them. There was no anonymous investor, Joey. I stared at her. It was me. I co-signed a bank loan for $60,000. I used my entire life savings as collateral. Everything your grandfather and I saved over 48 years of marriage. What? You made the payments. Every single one, on time. You paid off that loan in 3 years. But when you tried to find the investor to thank them, to pay them back beyond the loan terms, Your parents told you not to bother. They said the investor preferred to remain anonymous. Why would they lie about that? My grandmother's eyes hardened. Because they stole the money. What? When you paid off the loan, the bank sent the collateral release directly to your parents' house. They told me about it. I asked them to help me reinvest the $60,000. Start a new retirement fund. But they said the money should stay liquid for emergencies. They opened an account in their name with me as co-owner. Within 2 years, the account was empty. They'd spent it all. I couldn't breathe. They spent your life savings? Every penny. Boats, vacations, investments that failed. When I asked about it, they said the money was gone, but not to worry. They said, "You were so wealthy now, you'd take care of me." They used your success as justification to steal from me. Grandma, why didn't you tell me? Because you were working so hard, building your life. I didn't want to burden you. And they were taking care of my facility costs, so I thought maybe they felt guilty, maybe they were making it right. I was paying those costs, not them. She nodded slowly. I suspected as much. I asked them last year how they could afford it. They said it was from family investments. They've been lying to both of us for over a decade, Joey. They used my money to help you, then used your money to help me, and they took credit for all of it. I felt rage building in my chest. Hot, clean, clarifying rage. That's fraud. That's theft. Yes. But they're my children. My grandchildren. I won't report them. I won't destroy them. But you need to know the truth. You need to know that you don't owe them a single thing. Not loyalty. Not money. Not forgiveness. They've been using both of us since the beginning. She squeezed my hand. I love you, Joey. I'm proud of you. And I'm telling you this because you need to be free of them. Completely free. Do you understand? Yes, I whispered. I understand. She handed me an envelope. This is a letter I've written. It documents everything. Dates. Amounts. Statements. Keep it somewhere safe. If you ever need proof of what they've done, it's all there. I took the envelope. Sat with my grandmother for another hour. We talked about my grandfather. Her childhood. Anything but the family. When I left, I hugged her tight. Thank you, I said. Live your life, sweetheart. Let them face theirs. I drove home in a daze. That night, I opened the envelope and read her letter. 3 pages of careful handwriting. Every detail documented. Every lie exposed. The manipulation went back 15 years. My entire adult life had been built on a foundation of my family's deception. I forwarded copies to Christine. Add this to the file. That night, I lay awake thinking. About 17 years of giving. About $60,000 my grandmother gave me that they stole. About $4 million I gave them that they squandered. About a lifetime of being used. And I realized something. I was done grieving this family. I was done being angry. I was done feeling anything at all. I was just done. 3 days after my grandmother's revelation, I made a decision. I called my attorney. Christine, I want you to prepare a formal cease and desist letter. Send it to my entire family. The terms are simple. No contact unless through legal representation. Any attempt to contact me directly will be considered harassment. You're sure about this? Completely. I'll have it drafted by tomorrow. The letters went out via certified mail. My parents, Aunt Linda, Uncle Gary, Brandon, even cousins who'd barely been involved. Everyone got the same message. Stay away. 2 days later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a hospital. Is this Joe Henderson? Yes. I'm calling from County General. Your father is here. He's had a heart attack. He's in surgery now. Your mother gave us your number. My chest tightened. How bad? Severe. The doctor can explain more, but we need to discuss payment. His insurance lapsed 3 months ago. The surgery and recovery will cost approximately $90,000. Who's responsible for the bill? I drove to the hospital, found my mother in the waiting room, Aunt Linda beside her, both of them red-eyed and exhausted. Joe. My mother stood up. Thank God you're here. What happened? He collapsed at home, just grabbed his chest and fell. The paramedics said it was a massive heart attack. He's been in surgery for 2 hours. Aunt Linda touched my arm. Joe, they're saying his insurance isn't active. They're asking about payment. Did he let it lapse? My mother nodded, crying. After you stopped the fund, we couldn't afford the premiums. It was $1,100 a month. We let it go. We thought we'd figure something out. The doctor came out 40 minutes later. Tired, still in surgical scrubs. Mrs. Henderson, your husband is stable. We performed a triple bypass. He's going to recover, but it was touch and go for a while. He'll need to stay here for at least a week, then extensive cardiac rehab. Thank God, my mother breathed. The doctor glanced at me, then back to my mother. We need to discuss payment arrangements. The surgery was $93,000. The hospital stay will be another $15,000 to $20,000. Without insurance, we'll need a payment plan or a guarantor. Everyone looked at me. The weight of their stares pressed down like gravity. He'll die without follow-up care, the doctor said quietly. The rehab is essential. The medications are essential. This is serious. My mother grabbed my hand. Joe, please. I know we've done terrible things. I know we don't deserve your help. But he's your father. He'll die. Please. I looked at Aunt Linda. She was crying silently. I looked at my mother. She was broken. I thought about the last 17 years. The $4 million. The lies. The manipulation. The theft of my grandmother's savings. The group text. The lawsuit. The character assassination. Every logical bone in my body said walk away. Let them figure it out. Let them face the consequences. But I looked at my mother's face and saw genuine terror. Do the surgery, I told the doctor. All of it. The rehab, the medications, everything he needs. Bill me directly. My mother collapsed against me, sobbing. Thank you. Thank you. Oh God, thank you. I felt nothing, just numb. Jessica's voice came from behind me. I knew it. He's soft. I turned. Jessica was standing near the waiting room entrance with Brandon. She had a smirk on her face. Brandon looked uncomfortable. This isn't for you, I said quietly. This isn't even for him. This is because I won't let someone die when I can prevent it. That's the difference between me and all of you. I walked out of the hospital. Didn't wait for my father to wake up. Didn't stay for updates. Just left. Over the next 3 days, my father recovered. My mother called with updates. I listened politely. Responded minimally. Felt nothing. But the consequences were accelerating for everyone else. Uncle Gary's auto shop officially closed. Filed bankruptcy. Lost everything. The building was seized, equipment auctioned. He was 53 years old with no business, no income, and a drinking problem that was getting worse. Brandon and Jessica's wedding happened at a community center they'd rented for $800. Of the 300 invited guests, 70 showed up. Jessica's parents didn't attend. Half of Brandon's friends canceled. The reception was in the same multi-purpose room as the ceremony, with grocery store cake and a Bluetooth speaker instead of a DJ. Tyler told me later that Jessica cried through the entire ceremony, not happy tears. Brandon looked miserable. They were married in front of people who'd seen the viral posts, who knew the whole story, who judged them with every glance. 3 weeks after the wedding, Tyler called me. They're getting divorced. Brandon and Jessica? Yeah. Jessica got caught filing a fraudulent insurance claim. She told the insurance company she had PTSD from online harassment and needed therapy coverage. But she'd never seen a therapist. She was just trying to get money. Brandon found the paperwork. He was done. How is he? Broken. He moved back in with your parents. But Joe, it's bad there. Your dad is depressed, can barely get out of bed. Your mom is working retail at Target, trying to cover bills. They're selling the house next month, moving to a retirement apartment. And Grandma? She's back in her regular room at Brightview. Medicaid is covering everything. She's okay. She asks about you. Tell her I love her. I will. But Joe, there's more. Uncle Gary tried to kill himself last week. My blood went cold. What? He was drunk. Took a bunch of pills. Aunt Linda found him and called 911. They pumped his stomach. He's in psychiatric care now. 72-hour hold. I sat down hard. Is he going to be okay? Physically? Yes. Mentally? I don't know. He keeps saying he destroyed his whole life. That everything's his fault. He's a mess. Tyler, I didn't want this. I know you didn't. But this is what happens when people build their lives on someone else's money. When it's gone, they collapse. This isn't your fault, Joe. This is consequences. After we hung up, I sat in silence for a long time. I thought about Uncle Gary, 53 years old, trying to kill himself because his business failed. I thought about Brandon, 26 years old, divorced after 3 weeks, living back home. I thought about my parents, selling their house, working retail, crushed by debt and shame. I thought about Jessica, fired, divorced, caught committing fraud, destroyed by her own lies. And I thought about myself, sitting in my nice apartment, financially secure, completely alone. Everyone was suffering, including me. But here's what I realized. I was suffering from isolation. They were suffering from consequences. I pulled out my phone, looked at the cease and desist letters Christine had sent, looked at my grandmother's letter documenting 15 years of deception, and I made a choice. I called Tyler. I'm moving. Out of state, California. There's a job opportunity I turned down a few years ago because I wanted to stay close to family. They're offering again. I'm taking it. When? Next month. Are you coming back? I don't know. Maybe for visits. Maybe not. I understand. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For all of it. Me too, Tyler. Take care of yourself. That night, I accepted the job offer. Senior VP of Product Development for a tech company in San Francisco. Salary was $230,000 plus equity. It was a fresh start 3,000 miles away from everyone. I put my condo on the market, started packing. 2 weeks before my move, my mother called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Joe, I'm not calling for money. Okay. I'm calling because your father and I have been going to therapy. The therapist asked us why we felt entitled to your money. We couldn't answer at first. But after weeks of sessions, we finally got to the truth. I stayed silent. We never saw you as separate from your success. When you sold your company, we thought that money was somehow ours too. Family money. We thought you owed us because we raised you, because we're blood. We never considered that you earned it, that it was yours, that we had no claim to it. Her voice cracked. We exploited you, Joe. For 17 years. We used your generosity as a blank check. We took and never gave anything back, except expectations for more. That's not family. That's parasitism. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive us. I don't expect you to come back. I just wanted you to know that we finally understand what we did. We stole your life. We're sorry. We're so sorry. She hung up before I could respond. I stood there holding my phone, feeling something crack open in my chest. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just acknowledgement. They finally understood. It didn't fix anything, but it was something. The day before my move, I visited my grandmother one last time. She was in her room, reading. She looked up when I walked in and smiled. California? How did you know? Tyler told me. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. Are you going to be okay? I'm 91 years old. I'll be fine until I'm not, but you need to live your life. Promise me you will. I promise. She hugged me tight. Your grandfather would have been so proud of you, not for the money, for your character, for knowing when to help and when to walk away. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, Joey. Now go, and don't look back. 6 months passed. I settled into San Francisco like I'd been there my whole life. Bought a condo in Pacific Heights with a view of the bay. The fog rolled in every evening, and I'd stand on my balcony watching the city lights flicker through the mist. Work was challenging in the best way. I was building something new, leading a team of 30 engineers, creating products that mattered. For the first time in years, I was defined by what I built, not what I gave. I started dating someone, Sarah. She was an architect, 34, divorced once, no kids. She knew I had money but didn't care. She paid for half our dates. She had her own life, her own success, her own dreams. We were partners, not dependents. Back home, the family was figuring out their new reality. My parents sold their house for $370,000. After paying off the remaining mortgage and the home equity line, they had about $80,000 left. They bought a 2-bedroom apartment in a retirement community. My father took a part-time job doing tax preparation during tax season. My mother worked at Target, 25 hours a week. They were making it, barely, but making it. Uncle Gary got sober. 90 days clean. He was working as a mechanic for someone else's shop, making $19 an hour. It wasn't much, but it was honest work without the stress of running a failing business. Tyler said he seemed lighter somehow, healthier. Aunt Linda finally got on Medicaid and Medicare. She had a case manager who helped her navigate the system. Her insulin was covered. Her doctor visits were covered. She was managing her diabetes properly for the first time in years. She also got a better job at the hospital cafeteria with actual benefits. Brandon moved out of my parents' place, got his own apartment, started working for a marketing firm. Tyler said he seemed sad, but functional. He'd apologized to me via email once. I never responded. Some bridges stay burned. Jessica moved back in with her parents. Last I heard, she was working at a call center and staying off social media. Tyler kept in touch. Respectful, never asking for anything. Just checking in every few weeks. He was doing well. Got promoted to foreman at his construction company. He was the only family member I still talked to. And my grandmother? She was thriving at Brightview. She'd joined the book club, started playing bridge, made friends. Tyler sent me photos. She looked happy, genuinely happy. One evening in November, my mother called. I was surprised to see her name. We hadn't spoken since her apology call 6 months ago. Joe, I'm not calling for money. I know, Mom. I just wanted to tell you something. Your father and I went to therapy again today. The therapist asked why we felt entitled to your money. Not why we wanted it. Why we felt entitled to it. What did you say? We couldn't answer. Not really. We realized we'd never actually earned your help. We just expected it. That's not family. That's exploitation. Mom, I know, you told me that before. I know, but I needed to say it again, because I finally really understand it. You gave us 17 years, $4 million, thousands of hours of your life managing our problems. And we gave you nothing in return, except expectations for more. Her voice broke. I don't expect you to forgive us. I don't expect you to come back. I just wanted you to know that we're finally standing on our own feet. It's hard. It's scary. But we're doing it. And we should have been doing it all along. How's Dad? Better. The heart attack scared him. He's eating better, exercising. We both are. We're healthier now than we've been in years. Turns out stress from living beyond your means is bad for your health. I almost smiled. Yeah, it is. Are you happy, Joe? In California? I am. Good. You deserve to be. I'm proud of you. Not for the money. For having the courage to walk away. That took more strength than we ever had. Thanks, Mom. I love you, son. I love you too. After we hung up, I stood on my balcony watching the sunset. The sky was orange and pink and purple, colors bleeding together over the Pacific. I thought about everything that had happened. The group text, the exclusion, the withdrawal, the lawsuits, the lies, the character assassination, the revelations about my grandmother's stolen savings, the heart attack, the divorces, the bankruptcy, the suicide attempt. All of it could have been avoided if they'd just talked to me, if they just asked instead of assumed, if they just treated me like family instead of an ATM. But they didn't, and here we were. I pulled out my phone. Tyler had texted, "Hey man, just checking in. Hope California is treating you well." I smiled. Texted back, "It is. Hope you're good. Tyler. Getting there. Thanks for everything you did. I mean it. Me." Take care of yourself, Tyler. I put the phone away. I thought about that group text from 8 months ago. We think it's best you step away for now. They were right. It was best. Just not for the reasons they thought. I took my life back. I stopped being defined by what I could give and started being valued for who I was. I found people who loved me without needing me. I built a life that was mine, not theirs. And I was never giving that away again. Here's what I learned. People will take everything you give them and still ask for more. Family doesn't mean you owe them your life, your money, or your happiness. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let people face the consequences of their choices. I spent 17 years trying to save people who didn't want to save themselves. They didn't want help. They wanted a safety net. There's a difference. The moment I stepped away wasn't cruelty. It was self-preservation. They called me selfish. But what's more selfish? Keeping your own money or demanding someone else's forever? Family is supposed to lift you up, not drain you dry. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who only love what you can give them, not who you are. I don't regret helping them for 17 years. I regret letting them make me believe I had to. Nobody owns you, not even family, especially not family. I stood on that balcony as the sun disappeared below the horizon. The city lights came on, one by one, tiny stars in the gathering dark. Tomorrow, I'd wake up in my own space, go to my own job, live my own life. And it would be enough. More than enough. It would be mine. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where family or friends took your generosity for granted? Where helping turned into being used? How did you handle it? Did you set boundaries? Or did you keep giving until there was nothing left? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes we all need permission to put ourselves first. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gave you something to think about. Remember, you're allowed to walk away from people who drain you, even if they're family. You're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to say no. Take care of yourselves out there. You're worth more than what you can give.